It's time for another episode of Coffee with April. And this time, I want to answer a question that I get asked very frequently. Or rather, two questions. The first question is, why April? Why did I choose to start a coffee roastery and name it April? The second question is, why start a coffee roastery in Copenhagen? Now, I get a lot of questions from people around the world that kind of wants to start their own coffee roasteries, right? It's a new trend in that sense, and I'm always very happy to kind of reply and share my view on it. And we're gonna try to push a few of the answers up here as well to share with all of you. So if ever you have any questions about kind of my process of starting April, you're more than welcome to just kind of write me an email or make a comment down here as well. Moving ahead, so why call it April? April for me is a very personal name. It comes out of the fact that April is a time during the year or a month where I'm not sure why, but it's always been a time where I'm getting my kind of best ideas, or at least the ideas that I kind of choose to move on with and really kind of progress with, try to do something of. It's to be really cheesy and honest, April is also around the time where, that's where I decided to take the leap into having my own coffee roastery as well. That's really, it's something about that time. It's something that is inspirational. The time is changing, the weather is changing. I guess people are getting happier. There's a lot of things that I connect with April that are very, very positive. And that's for, I like the idea of, a dark, cold December and you get a bag of April coffee and, that kind of puts a smile on your face. So for me, April is time of the year. It represents, for me, kind of innovation, decision making, progress, moving on, taking the next kind of step. That's one part of it. The other part is seasonality. It really comes down to the importance of green coffee and the seasonality that comes with it. We all know that coffee is harvested at a different time during the years, and my hope was kind of that using a month as part of my name, I could easily highlight the importance of seasonality when it comes to quality coffee. It's really as easy as that, and it's actually the first name that came to mind when someone asked me, what do you want to call your roastery? So we haven't gone into any kind of long decision process. It's really the first thing that comes up. It felt right, and as we're going, I'm kind of seeing the relevance behind it and creating the story behind it as well. So in the end, really, really happy with coming up with April. Second of all, why Copenhagen? That's a question that I get a lot, and where you are as a coffee roaster is actually very important. And it's important for several reasons. First of all, that most roasters, not everyone, but traditionally what we see, most roasters are having the majority of their sales locally. So in the city or in the country where they actually located. We're slowly seeing a different trend here where some roasters are very good at selling internationally rather than locally, but historically that's still very much the trend. So that's important to understand. So you need to understand your local market when kind of starting a roastery. And for me, coming to Copenhagen from the outside can actually appear as a bit random because I'm not Danish. I never lived in Copenhagen before. I'm actually Swedish, started in Gothenburg, where I roasted my first batches at Da Matteo together with Christian, and then moved down to Berlin and worked there for 2 years. And then kind of from Berlin to Copenhagen. So there's a lot of risks involved when you decide to start a roastery or any kind of company in a city and country that you've never been in before. At least not more than as a tourist or on weekends. So starting in Copenhagen was not necessarily a financial decision, right? It was not necessarily breaking down the market and seeing how much can I sell here in terms of coffee. Then there's other Scandinavian countries or cities that could make more sense. However, I did know that Copenhagen is a quality-driven city when it comes to what you drink and what you eat, and I think that was a very important part of it. But for me, it wasn't necessarily important because of sales. It was important because that's where I take my inspiration from. After 2 years in Berlin, I lost my inspiration. I lost my drive to a sense where I wasn't inspired with what was going on around me. And I knew that wherever I started April, my coffee roastery, I needed to be in a surrounding where I was inspired, right? Where I would wake up and I would be excited because something new had happened. A new restaurant, a new coffee shop, a new bakery, something new. I wanted to be around companies that wanted to innovate, push forward. Companies that want to push the boundaries of what is possible and not just be the best in the city they're in, but also the best in the world. And I find that in Copenhagen, mainly due to restaurants, design, architecture, just creativity in general is very interesting. And I truly believe that some of the best stuff we will see in the future will come out of Copenhagen. So deciding to be in Copenhagen is very much a personal decision, whereas when you start a coffee roastery or any kind of business, you most likely have to be in that city, in that country for several years to be able to pull it off, to be able to actually build a company that is sustainable and that is you actually can do something with. So I knew that I needed to be in a city where I got the inspiration I needed to still kind of remain there, and not just be there, but also progress there, right? Wanted to develop into something really, really good and make sure that April would be one of the known as one of the best quality roasteries in the world. So that's why I ended up in Copenhagen. So that was a bit of my backstory. And again, if you have any kind of comments, want to share your story, please do that down here. Or just write us an email, and we're very happy with kind of sharing our process. So if you have any questions or out there, you want to start a roastery, what should you think about, then send me some questions, and I'm happy to do more of these. Thank you guys.